Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome back to some more Let's Play Sonic Adventure 2.
I didn't expect the inside of the mines to be like this. This is gonna be tougher than I thought.
Knuckles is right about this area. The Aquatic Mines, in my opinion, is one of Knuckles' harder stages, and that's simply because of the water here. There are 3 different levels you can go ahead and raise and lower the water. And we're going to go ahead and start off by lowering the water as low as it goes, and we're going to go after one of Knuckles' optional powers here. This power you definitely don't need to beat the game, but I highly recommend you go after this power-up because it's going to make the underwater levels for Knuckles a lot easier to traverse. So, coming into this small corridor section here, you barely have enough air to get through the entirety of this section. But if you manage to get through this whole area, you're rewarded with the Air Necklace. The Air Necklace makes it so now that Knuckles can breathe underwater, preventing him from drowning ever again. Now that we have the Air Necklace, let's go ahead and restart the level here, and let's collect those Emerald Shards. Now, you don't need the Air Necklace per se to beat underwater levels here in Knuckles, but if you were going to play without the Air Necklace, every once in a while you would need to collect air bubbles underwater in order to survive, because you only have a set amount of time that you can breathe underwater in this game. So, this is why I recommend you go after the Air Necklace, simply because now you don't have to worry about that timer. You can stay underwater as long as you want, hunting for those Emerald Shards, without worrying about drowning. Now, our second Emerald Shard here doesn't really seem to be up in this area. The hint here says it's in a ghost window, which that should be somewhere here in the beginning section on the walls here somewhere, as these little pillars look like windows. There's a ghost jumping out, so that's the ghost window. So we have one more shard left, and this one's a place where the 4th person of the group is buried, meaning it's somewhere underground. According to our radar, it's just right over here in this section, so we just have to look around these skulls and just dig around, and we should be finding our last shard. There it is. That was a pretty good aquatic mine. Normally, emerald shards are all over the place here, and you're constantly having to mess with the water levels, as certain emerald shards are blocked off by certain water level limits. But this time around, we didn't even need to touch any of the water level. We could have left it as it is the whole time. That was a really good aquatic mine run.
Sheesh, there always seems to be a lot of police around when you don't need them. Tails, any news yet?
For some reason, I'm not getting a signal from the 6 remaining Chaos Emeralds. Maybe Eggman took the emeralds into outer space.
Outer space? Knuckles!
Hey guys, long time no see. I must have got lost in the mines. Looking for the Master Emerald pieces was tougher than I thought it would be. Where are we anyway? Hey, where are you going?
Move aside, Knuckles!
I managed to find the transcripts between Eggman and the President in the government computer. I'm following the President's limo right now. If we get into the limo, we can trace the call to find Eggman.
Okay, let's meet up there.
Hey! Wait for me, Tails!
The President must be over there. Let's go!
So welcome to one of the 2 driving levels here in Sonic Adventure 2. Since now we're chasing down the President's limo, we need to get there on the highway. And I'm gonna just say this right now, I'm not the biggest fan of the driving levels in Sonic Adventure 2. And that's just simply because these levels are pretty difficult to get through, due to all the stuff you have to worry about here. If you hit a wall, you'll definitely slow down. If you collide with it on a certain angle, then you just go on a dead stop and you can't move for a little while. There's a bunch of cars all over the place, and if you hit a car, then once again, you slow down a lot, and this is really, really punishing, as you have a certain amount of time you have to work with before you just lose a life. In the top left corner there under our score, we have a timer, and if that hits 0, then we have to start back over from one of the checkpoints. This is basically like a race, so if you've played any kind of racing game, then you'll be pretty familiar with this kind of concept, because this is kind of like a time attack. But this is a little difficult to get through on a very first playthrough of the game. Every once in a while, when you're collecting rings, you'll get a boost, And this boost is going to help you just keep your speed up. And as you're noticing, I am just swerving all over the place here. That is because if you let go the accelerate button and then you start moving around, then you start drifting a little bit. The fastest way to move in the car is to constantly drift back and forth like I'm doing here, just kind of snaking around. And when you combine this with the boost you get from the rings, then this makes things a little bit easier. And when you're drifting around like this, corners are easier to make in general. You have better handling when you're swerving all over the place like this in general. So just remember, when you let go the accelerate, you'll start drifting a little bit, which will make turns a lot easier. And I highly recommend you do so because there's no real brake button in this. So the best way to make these turns is let go the accelerate for a moment, get this drift, and then if you have a boost, use the boost to get your speed back. And if you don't have a boost, then just collect more rings to get boost. If you hit one of the balloons, you're going to get more than enough rings to give you a boost right away. And that's just basically how you play these levels. They are pretty difficult, but at the same time, we're in the hero story, and out of the two storylines, the hero story is considered easier than Dark Story. The Dark Story is kind of considered the harder mode of Sonic Adventure 2. So, when we get to the other driving level in this game, you'll definitely notice a difficulty spike. In my opinion, the driving level in Dark Story is a lot harder than the one in Hero Story. But we made it to the end, we found the president, so let's see what he's up to. But more importantly, we also unlocked the kart racing minigame now to play outside of story mode, which we'll look at some point in the future.
Mr. President, reports show that since the incident 3 hours ago, the country is in turmoil. Our financial communities are impacted, and our satellite communications are down. An emergency meeting has been called. Mr. President, this is a national crisis.
Spare me the details. Exactly just what is it that you want? Dr. Eggman.
Well, let's just get down to business then, shall we, Mr. President? I won't bore you with all the details since I know you are a very busy man. Mr. President, my demands are quite simple. Surrender to the Eggman Empire and make no attempts to resist. Otherwise, your country will cease to exist. You have 24 hours to give me your answer.
No way!
What the?
Sonic,
Eggman Empire. Yeah, right.
What the heck's going on here?
Don't
Oh,
worry,
no.
Mr. President.
What did you
Everything's
do?
under control. Just leave it to us. Got it, Tails?
I got it! He's transmitting from the space colony Ark.
Okay, let's move it!
Wait up, Sonic!
Hey, you, wait!
Mr. President, we're receiving an incoming signal from our agent.
Inside that pyramid?
I saw Eggman go inside the pyramid. And more importantly, I saw that Batgirl go inside with him as well. Well, you saw them too, right?
Well, yeah.
We should be able to get into outer space from there. I don't know what this space colony is all about, but I'll find and destroy that cannon, and then kick their Imperial butts.
All right.
I'll go and find the entrance.
Well, it looks like we know where Eggman's base is. Now we just have to get inside. So, with Tails here, we're going to go ahead and try to make our way inside this pyramid. And I'm going to say right now, this is one of Tails' harder levels, just simply because all around you is a bottomless pit. That sand we see below us, we do not want to fall in that, because that's basically quicksand for Tails. If you fall in that sand, you will die immediately, so be very, very careful about that. We got a lot of stone doors here in our way. We just want to go ahead and mash the shoot button to shoot them down with our missiles. That's really the only way we're going to blast through these doors. We got a lot of enemies that just kind of blindside you in this level, so just be prepared at all times for something coming your way. And unfortunately, another thing you have to worry about in this level is the fact that there's all these pillars we shoot down because they have dynamite strapped to them. And when we shoot them down, then the platform will lower for us to stand on. But the hit detection on this kind of stuff's a little wonky, so you want to make sure you're waiting to jump to it once you see it fully down. If you're trying to jump to a platform while it's still sliding down, as you've seen earlier, I was moving down extremely fast in the wall because it was pushing me down with it. So you gotta be very careful, as the hit detection on these platforms is a little weird in general, and sometimes that could kill you if you're not careful. Case in point, right here, I couldn't see anything for a while. That was a great camera. Being pushed down that far was not ideal at all. I couldn't see what I was doing. The camera got pushed into a wall. Great camera in this game, I swear. They didn't really get good camera in 3D Sonic games till years later. The Dreamcast Sonic games were not known for having great camera. The camera control in this series is just kind of all over the place. I do find it better at times in this game compared to Sonic Adventure 1 when it comes to camera, because the camera here has a little bit more space to work with at times, but then you get the tight corridor levels like Hidden Battles here, and yeah, the argument kind of goes out the window a little bit more, as there's a lot more here that the camera can get stuck on. Just turning to the right before this checkpoint here, we got ourselves some goodies. It's mainly the extra life I care about there. The 10 rings aren't really that helpful, but getting extra life is good if you don't have many lives at this point. This level has a lot of vertical platforming we're noticing so far. This level really does test your platforming skill with the mech. I say it's one of the more demanding platforming stages as the mech character at this point, so we definitely want to be careful here, but we actually got a little bit of a sequence break by jumping up to the top platform. We weren't supposed to be able to do that, but I did mention in the last episode when we got our hover that you can kind of abuse it, and if you activate the hover at the apex of your jump, you can kind of get some extra height off of it. And that was a case of getting extra height there, allowing you to get the platforms you're not normally able to reach on your own. So you can do that and actually skip a lot of stuff as a mech character, and it is pretty broken for that reason. There are just certain sections that you can not only bypass, but also clip through, just because certain sections you can reach that you're not supposed to be able to, and they never expect you to reach certain sections, and there's no collision there, so you can just fly right through things. The mech characters can be kind of broken if you know what you're doing with them, but we're going to try to play this one as legit as possible. Alright, it's time for us to move on to our next stage here, and it's Pyramid Cave with Sonic. This is one of my favorite levels to run through with Sonic, and that's just because of how much goes on in this level. For starters here, we have these rings we can go ahead and jump through, which will give us a little bit of extra points. It depends on how hard it is for you to get into the ring for how many points they give you. So since this ring we just jumped through here is high up in the ceiling, it gives you 300 points. These two rings right next to each other will give you 600. So you definitely want to jump through these rings whenever you can. That way you get some extra points added to your score, making the A rank in the stage a little bit easier to get. Here we have a new mechanic here. We got some bars we can go ahead and flip around on. So you want to press the jump button when you see Sonic's feet basically pointing up in the air. And you can actually mash the jump button to flip off of those bars immediately when you land on it, which is a cool little speed trick. But here we got ourselves a new power for Sonic. This is the Bounce Bracelet. The Bounce Bracelet will allow us to have an extra mid-air jump now, giving us something called the Bounce Attack. Using the Bounce Attack, we can jump even higher than we were able to in the past. So here, for example, we can go ahead and use the new Bounce Attack of ours to actually climb up this wall we couldn't make normally with Sonic's jump. But the Bounce Bracelet actually has a little bit of weird physics behind to it, and because of that, we can actually use this said weird physics to our advantage. So if you use the Bounce Attack when you're rubbing against walls with immense speed, you maintain that speed, but you gain immense height from it. So here, you can go ahead and use the Bounce Bracelet just to completely bypass this door and just go so high up on this wall that you clip through the said wall. So doing that is insane. And you can do this little technique in a lot of areas in Sonic Adventure 2. The Bounce Bracelet for Sonic is probably his most OP power that he gets in his whole adventure, and that's just because of how busted it is when you combine it with spin dashing in this game. It's not supposed to be able to let you just go so high you clip through walls, but that is the power of the Bounce Bracelet here in Sonic Adventure 2. Here we got ourselves another key. We need to take this back to the door we see in this beginning area here in order to unlock it. But I'm actually just mainly showing where this key is because we're not going to use it, as there's something with this door here up ahead I want to go ahead and showcase instead. So now you've seen where the key is and to use it for yourself, we're going to go ahead and just bypass this door entirely. there is a tiny little crack here in the very far left of this door that Sonic can just barely fit through. And with enough speed, if you just go ahead, charge up your spin dash, and just jump at the right area, you will clip straight through the door, as this seam is just big enough for Sonic to fit through it. This is what speedrunners do in this stage at all times, simply because it makes running through the stage really quick. If you clip through that door pretty fast, then you won't have to worry about going for that key, and it saves you a lot of time in the process. This section here, we had to go ahead and hit a hourglass switch, which these hourglasses we've seen throughout this level. We need to hit these to open up doors, and they're on a timer, so you have to be moving to get through those doors in time before they shut. And now we have this loop section here, which is all very much automated. Just hold up on the control stick at this point, and it just plays itself. And we're getting near the end of the level at this point, which means now we have a beetle. We haven't seen the gold beetle here in a while, but there he is. Want to go ahead and destroy him, get some extra points, give ourselves another one up here, and once we get past this section here with the grind rail and our hourglass switch, we'll pretty much be at the end of the stage. So we'll just go ahead and let this automatic loop take us to the end, and that's Pyramid Cave. It's a very fun stage. It's a stage I like replaying a lot as Sonic. Just something about this stage is always just very invigorating, in my honest opinion. I always get a rush after playing this one. But now with that said, we have completed yet another stage here with Sonic. We've entered Eggman's base, and we're ready to go ahead and track him down. Next time on Let's Play Sonic Adventure 2, we'll continue looking for Eggman here in his base. I'll see you guys next time.